Okay, welcome back to the core activity. Let's go ahead and take a look. We have lesson 6, core activity. Complete a journal entry about algebraic properties and how they can be used to solve equations. So here's our algebraic property. It says addition property of equality. Okay, my understanding of what the property means. Okay, now remember I told you guys that anytime you write property of equality, it's when you do something to both sides of the equation, both sides of the equal sign. Okay, so I'm going to simply write to add let's put the same thing or the same number to both sides. Okay, so I'm looking over here at this one here. It says a plus 6 equals negative 9. Now, they want me to use addition, a property of equality. So I have to add a certain number. What number would I have to add to get rid of positive 6? Well, I would have to add a negative 6. So this is what they want me to do. Plus a negative 6 and plus a negative 6. Okay, so right here we have a plus 6 and then plus a negative 6. Well, this plus negative 6 is going to take out this positive 6. Okay, so then I bring down my a, bring down my equal sign, and now I have 9 plus negative 6, which is 3. Okay, so what do we think subtraction property of equality is? Well, addition property of equality was to add the same number to both sides. So I'm going to say to subtract the same number to both sides. And that's what I would use here. Notice these two equations here are exactly the same, but this time we're going to use subtraction property of equality. So how do I get rid of plus 6? Well, I'm minus 6. So I need a minus 6 here because I want to isolate the a, get that by itself. Okay, and what I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side. So again, this plus 6 and minus 6 is going to be 0. So a plus 0, which is just a. And then I bring down my equal sign, and I have 9 minus 6, which is, again, it is 3. Now, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my text box here because my handwriting is just terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Multiplication property of equality. What do you guys think that is? Give it a quick thought. I'm going to go ahead and type it out. It is to multiply the same number to both sides. Okay, so looking at this equation here, 4x equals 24. Now, my first go-to move is, okay, well, it says to multiply by 4. I want to get the x by itself. I want to isolate it, and I have a multiply by 4 with it. Well, how do I get rid of multiply by 4? Well, I would divide by 4. Okay, and as we talked about earlier, dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. So, but they want us to use the multiplication property here. So I'm going to have to multiply by 1/4. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 1/4. Okay, so what happens here is I end up with 1 times 4, which is 4. And I'm going to put a 1 here just to make it a little easier, because 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. Okay, but just so you guys can see this a little clearer, 1 times 4x is 4x. 4 times 1 is 4. Equals, and again, I'm going to put a 1 here. I end up with 24 times 1, which is 24. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6. Okay, and here the 4's will cancel out because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 1 times x is just x. So x equals 6. Okay, this last one here, division property of equality. Go ahead and write that down. To divide the same number to both sides of the equation. I figured that'd be a little bit more proper here. All right, so looking here, I have 4 times x. And again, I want to isolate that x, get x all by itself. And I'm seeing multiply by 4. So I need to get rid of that multiply by 4. And the way I do that is by dividing by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times x is x. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6. So notice multiplying by 1/4 is the same thing as dividing by 4. Okay, so we're going to continue on number 2. It says you use algebraic properties to solve the equation 3 times the quantity of x plus 2 plus x equals 16. Okay, so the first thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at this here. The first thing I'm looking at is I need to distribute this 3. I need to distribute the 3 to the x, and then I need to distribute it to the 2 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and write 3x, because 3 times x is 3x, plus 3 times 2, which is 6, plus x equals 16. Okay, now I'm looking here at this. What I need to do is I need to add like terms. So I have 3x plus x. So if I have 3x's plus an x, that's 4x. I'm going to bring down this plus 6 equals 16. Now, remember, when solving equations, the goal is to isolate the variable. Okay, so here's the x, here's the variable, and I've got this times 4 and a plus 6. Well, the next thing I need to do is get rid of this plus 6. Well, how do I get rid of plus 6? Well, I need to subtract 6. So I'm going to do a subtraction property of equality. What I do to one side, I need to do to the other side to keep my equation balanced. Okay, so 4x is going to come down. 6, positive 6 and negative 6, well, that's 0. So I could put plus 0, but 4x plus 0 is just 4x, equals 16 minus 6, well, that's 10. Okay, so we're almost there. We almost have the x isolated. I have a multiply by 4. Well, how do I get rid of multiply by 4? Well, we divide by 4. And what I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side of the equation to keep it balanced. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 1 times x is just x. And 10 divided by 4. There is one thing I could do here. I could reduce this, okay? I can divide the top by 2, and I can also divide the bottom by 2. So if I divide the top by 2, I'm actually going to divide by a certain type of 1, which is 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is 1. So anytime you divide by 1 or multiply by 1, the number doesn't change its value. Okay? So all I'm doing here is dividing by 1. So 10 divided by 2. Actually, you know what? I kind of like to use multiplication for this as opposed to division here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Which it's not allowing me to. So I'm going to multiply this by a certain type of 1.